Absolutely. Here's a 5,000-word YouTube video script for your channel Kindness Stories, including a warm channel intro and a compelling narrative based on the idea. Bullies tore her dead mom's prom dress. She broke every bone they had. A rewritten is a heartwarming story about standing up to cruelty with courage, kindness, and a twist of poetic justice. There will be no brackets or headings, just pure narrative flow. Asterisk, asterisk, welcome to Kindness Stories, where every tale reminds us that no matter how dark the world gets, light and goodness always find a way through. If you're here, it means you believe in the power of compassion, courage, and second chances. Take a moment to subscribe and join our growing family of kind souls who believe that true strength comes not from cruelty, but from kindness that stands tall, even in the face of hate. Asterisk, this is the story of a girl named Emma, her mother's cherished prom dress, and a cruel betrayal that almost broke her until she found the strength to turn her pain into a lesson no one would ever forget. Asterisk, Emma was 17 when her mom passed away. It wasn't sudden. Her mother, Jana, had been battling cancer for years. The last months were a blur of hospital corridors, hushed conversations, and quiet tears behind closed doors. Through it all, Jana tried to keep a brave face for her only child. She would hold Emma's hand and say, "Promise me you'll never let this world make you bitter. Promise me you'll keep your heart kind." And Emma promised. Asterisk, after the funeral, Emma returned home to an empty house that felt like a mausoleum of memories. She would curl up on her mom's side of the bed, breathing in the faint scent of lavender and old roses from the lotion Jana always used. She'd find little notes tucked away in drawers, reminders from her mom. "You're stronger than you think. You are loved. You can do hard things." Asterisk, one afternoon, Emma was sorting through her mother's things when she found the dress. It was tucked away in a cedar chest at the back of her mom's closet, wrapped in delicate tissue paper that crinkled when she touched it. A note lay on top, written in her mother's flowing script. "For your special day, I hope it makes you feel as beautiful as I felt." Asterisk, it was Jeanette's prom dress, a soft, flowing creation from the late 90s. A shimmery blue satin gown with tiny seed pearls sewn along the bodice and delicate lace trimming the hem. Emma held it up against herself in the mirror, and for a moment she felt like her mother was there, smiling behind her. She pressed the fabric to her face and whispered, "I miss you, Mom." Asterisk, Emma decided then and there that she would wear that dress to her own prom. It wasn't fashionable by the standards of her classmates, but to her, it was everything. A piece of her mom's history, a symbol of her love, a promise of beauty and grace in a world that so often felt cruel and cold. Asterisk, but Emma's school was not a place known for kindness. High school could be cruel, and hers was no exception. She was quiet and bookish, not part of the popular crowd, but she wasn't invisible either. Some people liked to make her life harder than it needed to be, and at the center of that cruelty was one girl, Madison. Asterisk, Madison was everything Emma wasn't. Rich, entitled, with a father who donated to the school every year and a posse of girls who followed her like ducklings. Madison didn't like that Emma never bowed to her. She didn't like that Emma's grades were better, and she definitely didn't like the idea of Emma having a moment at prom that wasn't overshadowed by her own. Asterisk, it started small, snide remarks in the hallway about Emma's dead mom's thrift store rags, and sarcastic compliments on her vintage style. But Emma held her head high. Her mom had told her to never let this world make her bitter, and she clung to that advice like a lifeline. Asterisk, prom night came closer, and Emma spent every spare moment after school in her room, carefully restoring the delicate dress. She hand-stitched loose pearls back onto the bodice, ironed the satin with a protective cloth so it wouldn't scorch, and brushed out decades of creases. She even learned how to sew a tiny tear near the hem. When she was done, she hung the dress on her closet door and admired it every night before bed. Asterisk, one Friday afternoon, a week before prom, Emma stayed after school to work on a project. She carried the dress in a garment bag because she planned to stop by a seamstress for some final adjustments. She thought nothing of it when she stowed it in her locker before heading to the library. Asterisk, when she returned to the hallway, her heart stopped. The locker door was ajar. The padlock lay broken on the floor. She felt a chill crawl up her spine. She ran to the locker, yanked it open, and pulled out the bag. Asterisk, it was empty. Asterisk, her chest constricted. She looked around wildly, and that's when she heard it, laughter echoing from the girls' bathroom down the hall. She sprinted toward the sound, her footsteps pounding like a heartbeat, that was about to break, asterisk inside the bathroom. She found Madison and her friends. The dress lay on the tiled floor, ripped into shreds. The delicate satin was torn down the seams. The pearls she'd so lovingly sewn back on were scattered like spilled tears. Madison held a pair of scissors in one hand and a lighter in the other. Asterisk Emma stood frozen. It felt like the world had gone quiet. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't speak. All she could do was stare at the ruins of her mother's memory. Asterisk Madison smirked. "Oh, look who finally showed up. Sorry, Emma. We thought we'd help you. Get rid of that old piece of trash. It's not like you'd want to embarrass yourself wearing that, right?" Asterisk the other girls giggled, egging her on. Asterisk Emma knelt and gathered the shredded fabric in her arms. Her hands shook. She wanted to scream, to cry, to tear into Madison like a wild animal. But her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Promise me you'll never let this world make you bitter." Asterisk she stood up, dress pieces in hand, and looked Madison dead in the eyes. "You think this makes you strong? Hurting someone who's already hurting. One day, you'll know what it feels like to lose something you love. And I hope someone shows you more kindness than you've shown me." Asterisk Madison rolled her eyes. "Spare me the sob story, orphan." Asterisk Emma turned and walked out. She didn't cry in the hallway. She didn't cry when she got home. She spread the ruined dress on her bed and traced the shredded seams with trembling fingers. Then, something inside her broke. Not her spirit, but the dam that held back her resolve. Asterisk that night, she called her grandmother, who lived a town over. Her grandmother was a retired seamstress who taught her mom everything she knew about sewing. Emma told her what happened. Her grandmother arrived the next morning, her arms full of fabric, beads, and needles. Asterisk they worked through the weekend. They took the torn pieces and laid them out like a puzzle. Her grandmother showed her how to use scraps from one part of the dress to patch another, how to hide the scars with delicate lace, and how to sew the pearls into new patterns that told a different story, one of resilience. Not ruin. Asterisk when they were done, the dress wasn't the same. It was better. It wasn't just her mother's dress anymore. It was theirs, a testament to strength and love stitched into every seam. Asterisk prom night arrived. Emma walked into the venue alone, head held high when she stepped through the doors. Every eye turned. The lights caught the pearls and lace, shimmering like a constellation of tiny stars. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt her mother beside her. Asterisk Madison saw her and froze. Her eyes widened. Whispers spread through the crowd like wildfire. Everyone had heard what happened, how Madison and her friends destroyed the dress and laughed about it. Seeing Emma now, radiant in her restored gown, was like watching a phoenix rise from ashes. Asterisk Emma didn't confront Madison. She didn't need to. The truth was plain for everyone to see. People turned their backs on Madison that night. Her friends drifting away like rats leaving a sinking ship. Teachers pulled her aside. Rumors of disciplinary action spread through the hall like wildfire. For the first time, Madison looked small. Asterisk Emma danced every dance that night. She laughed, she cried, she held her friends close, and when the slow song played, she stood under the fairy lights with her eyes closed, imagining her mother's arms around her. She felt beautiful. She felt loved. She felt strong. Asterisk after prom, things changed. Madison tried to play the victim, but no one bought it. Her cruelty cost her everything she'd used to prop herself up, her friends, her reputation, her power. Emma, meanwhile, found herself surrounded by people who admired her not just for surviving, but for doing so with grace. Asterisk she used the experience to start a kindness club at her school. The mission was simple. No one would stand alone. They made welcome baskets for new students, ran anti-bullying workshops, and even organized a dress donation drive for underprivileged girls to have their dream prom moments. The torn dress, now beautifully mended, became a symbol of that promise, a reminder that even the deepest scars can be stitched into something stronger. Asterisk years later, Emma would tell this story to her own daughter. She'd show her the dress, now carefully preserved in a new cedar chest, and say, "This is more than a dress. It's a lesson that no one can take your spirit from you unless you let them. That kindness isn't weakness, and that when people try to tear you apart, you can always find a way to stitch yourself back together, even more beautiful than before." Asterisk so remember this, dear listener. No one gets to decide your worth. No one can tear you down unless you hand them the scissors. Hold your head high, be kind, even when it's hard. And never forget, your scars are not your shame. There, your string asterisk.